Welcome to Telly Talk, where we talk about what's on the telly, and by that, maybe what's in our minds, because we're Telly. I'm Tyler, and I'm trapped in a jungle for 27 years.
And I'm Soul, the girl next door.
Does that mean we get married and have a house?
Yeah, it does. God damn it, this
Ew.
happens every time.
We're talking about Jumanji today, if you didn't look at the thumbnail or read the title of the video.
But not the new ones. The old
Not the
original
new ones.
one.
The
It's not even old.
OG.
The OG,
with
the
my
only good one.
Father figure,
Your
Robin
father
Williams.
figure? He's your father figure?
Yeah, he's my father figure, along with Robert Downey Jr.
Those are two very opposing people.
They're both very comforting to me. Yeah. They're both like have brown hair and they're both like nice and funny.
Jumanji.
Oh my
Jumanji.
God. When I was watching this with my roommates, we had this little bit that like, you know how the game only ends when you win and then say Jumanji? Imagine they read the box wrong and like it's not pronounced Jumanji, it's pronounced like Jumanji, and then the game just never ends because they can't figure out how to pronounce it.
It's actually pronounced human.
Money.
The J's are actually H's. That's just how you pronounce it. You know how in some language, like in Spanish, the J is like kind of like an H.
Is it? Are you like making this up or is this for real?
What do you mean?
Like,
Which
is
part?
it actually pronounced humani?
No.
Or, okay, I believed you.
Oh my god. Actually, the J's are pronounced like G's. It's Gamanji.
That's what I was saying. Gamangi. And then they just spend the last half hour of the movie trying to figure out the correct pronunciation. Until
they're like talking to the hunter. They're like, hey, wait a second. How do you pronounce it? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And they're like, okay. So there's like it's not Jumanji. Maybe it's Humani.
Gamangi.
Gamangi. I don't know. And then I feel like they'd all be dead.
Yeah, because the bullet would have hit the guy, and then
what would have happened? What would the guy do? What would the hunter do if he actually killed?
Would he just go?
Would he just be like,
Yeah,
all right,
'cause
my
he
job's
completes the
done,
mission.
so I'm just gonna
Yeah, he just chills,
out.
go make a cup of tea.
He's like, do you guys have any tea? And he's like, yeah, go check the kitchen.
He'll go take care of the lion. Okay, so starting at the beginning of the movie, whatever, the fact that 1969 and 1995 are only 26 years apart is so goddamn trippy to me. Like, what do you mean the 60s and the mid-90s are only 20-something years apart? I lost my mind. I don't know why. It just, you know, like when the math just feels wrong with years, like the 90s being like 40 years ago? Like, what do you mean they're only 26 years apart?
You know what confused me?
What?
The origin of the game. Not even the origin. But the game existed in 1862, 100 years before that.
I kind of think it's been around since, like, ancient times.
So, like, where do you think
I
it
want the
came
sequel
from?
to be those, like, French kids when it washed up on shore. They shouldn't have made a video game sequel. They should have made a sequel with those French children.
The French children.
You know, the French. I think the game came from the location of the jungle. Like, it does, like, the game is, like, a very African vibe with the drumming in the jungle.
I think they said that, like, the animals from Jumanji are from an African jungle. Like, when the bats came out, they're like, oh, yeah, those are African bats. I've seen those in this book.
Yeah, and... Yeah. And then the drumming with, like, the theme, Jumanji, like, theme was very African style. So I believe the game originated a long time ago in Africa. And
so,
it was,
like ancient
cursed.
Africa in a jungle. I think, like, a god made it and, like, gifted it to, a community or something.
What would be the point of that?
A gift from a god?
Yeah, but what would be the point of a gift that's so cursed? Like, you don't get anything from the game. Nothing good happens to you. Just bad things happen until you in the game, and then the bad things go away. Like,
maybe they
no
were, like,
prize
disrespectful people asking for a gift from the gods. He's like, okay, I'll give you a gift. Here you go. Jumanji.
Headcanon. Jumanji is from Madagascar. Bro, I have the Jumanji board game. We should play it sometime. for a video or something.
You want
or
to
just
play
for fun.
Jumanji?
I have the game.
If you get sucked in the game, I'm leaving you there for at least 30 years.
Bro, all you gotta do is roll, like, a 5. Just come on.
Okay, but if you
And
cheat,
then I have to
then you get cursed. And I
Okay.
don't want to turn into a monkey.
Bro, but if you leave me there for 30 years, then you're gonna have to, like, relive those 30 years once you get me out. Wouldn't it suck to relive...
Kind of,
Imagine
but not
reliving
really.
middle school.
I mean, if
Imagine
we're playing
being,
now...
like, 11 in the 60s, and then you have to re-go through puberty and shit.
Oh, yeah, that would suck. But if we're playing now, I'd be, like, 50. And I would just...
And then you just get to relive your 20s.
Yeah, I could, like, redo everything that I did wrong. You know, all the chances that I missed.
You're so right. This would be a good age to, like, learn and then repeat, but imagine reverting back to the mindset of, like, an 11-year-old and then re-going through all of that.
Like, that woman probably knows exactly what to invest in and when. And they're probably rich.
And and then the boy already was rich, too.
Yeah, so they're
And
probably,
he
like,
just got
fucking
the house and shit.
bajillionaires.
You know how the end of the movie made it very clear that they were reverting back to the mindset of, like, an 11-year-old?
Yeah.
Like, in their brains, like, they weren't having adult brains anymore. I think it's really interesting that they did manage to, like, stay a couple and end up together, because it would be, like, I get, like, their whole trauma bonding crush thing going on, but honestly, being able to go through that long of a period of time with the mindset of that age, and the fact that they ended up together is pretty crazy.
Well, I mean, they already liked each other before.
Well, yeah, but the person you like when you're 12 isn't usually the person you marry. And I just think it's interesting, like, good for them that they were able to go through that.
I think in the later movie, they're like 40. Like, in 1995, they're like 40, right? Because they're already like 15 or whatever. So I feel like there's no implication of this, but I feel like they did try and date and then they, like, broke off. Or maybe they didn't. And then they, like, went with their own people, and then they realized that, well, maybe they aren't even married in the future, in the near future.
I think they are. It was super implied.
They could not
They
be.
were hosting, like, a Christmas party together.
Yeah, because they have a company. They, like, co-found
I don't know.
his
It
dad's
just felt...
company or whatever.
It just felt coupley. I forgot the end of this movie, and I was watching it, and I was like, couldn't they use the information they know now to stop the parents from dying? And then they did.
Yeah,
but I thought
that was
kids
really
were
funny.
I thought the kids were, like, gonna be born with knowledge for some reason. Like, because they, like, the two adults remembered everything when they went back in time. So for some reason, I thought the kids would be born with this memory or something. I don't know. And then I thought the kids were going to stop their parents from dying.
My
but then they
theory
didn't. It was
is
funny.
that when the two adults went back to their own time, I think that branched off, like, another universe, like an alternate universe. And they went back in time in a different branch to their original universe, but not the one that they were originally from.
Oh, so you think this is, like, another timeline now?
Yeah.
I wonder what happened in the original timeline, because imagine all that shit just went down, and then they're, like, your house is just covered in jungle, and... Oh,
well,
yeah,
it all
everything
got
got
sucked
fixed.
back
I don't
in.
know.
But the house is still
Imagine
destroyed.
you just, like, live through that. Like, what would you do in that situation?
I don't know. Okay, the one complaint I had about this movie, like, literally the one and only complaint, is that they didn't, like, do any closure for the aunt.
Yeah.
Like, they just totally took her out of the ending. Didn't conclude her story at all. She kind of just got washed away by that flood. And that was, like, the last time you saw her. You even saw the policeman at, like, the Christmas party or whatever. But you didn't see the aunt anywhere.
That's kind of depressing for her. Because she was a nice character, and then
Like,
she just washes away, and then she's gone.
she never saw the kids again. She never saw, like, the house destroyed, really. And she never got to the Christmas party. So I don't know.
That's so sad.
Also, why didn't they destroy the game? Or the people
they
before them?
maybe one of two things. Either the game can't be destroyed, like you try, and it just, like you, like, try, like a Horcrux in Harry Potter, like you try and do shit to it and nothing happens.
Yeah.
or like it has defense mechanism, so if you try and do something to it, it like rebounds back onto you type of thing.
I
Like a
guess.
totally cursed object, like you light it on fire and then you end up being on fire.
I mean,
This is turning into a horror movie.
they had to like. I feel like they should have shown them like at least trying to destroy it in some capacity,
Oh yeah.
but they didn't. They just like threw it. They could have done a scene where they took like the axe and tried to chop it up because it's just a wooden board game. From the who knows? Do you think the board game? I guess it does technically. I was gonna say, do you think the board game like morphs into the like to look like the time period game? Which I guess it does because in that time wooden board games, and then in the future it turns into a video game.
Holy shit! That's why it turns into a video game.
Yeah.
It changes.
Yeah.
Dude.
That was kind of my question about like also like why did it turn into a video game and it's not a board game?
It matches what people play at that time, so it gets played.
Yeah.
Dude.
And it also, I didn't realize this when I watched this when I was a kid because I was a kid. But it like calls to people who are like
People who want to leave the world behind.
Yeah, and everyone else can't hear it.
I kind of thought it was like a kids can hear it and adults can't type of thing, but I don't know.
Well, it's a very continuous theme where when Robin Williams was a kid, he heard it when he said he was going to run away. And then the future kids they were like, I don't want nothing to do with you, to the aunt. And then they started hearing
I wonder what the French
game.
kids were going through when those two French kids heard it.
I don't know.
Can we write a sequel about the French kids?
Yeah.
And include the fact that it can't be destroyed? I felt a very powerful feeling at the end of the film that was very nicely done that I didn't notice as a kid because I was a kid. But there's kind of like a theme of, I think the time travel type thing is what makes you feel it, but like the mindset of an adult is different than the mindset of a kid. And I felt that very strongly watching it this time for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, just like imagine going back to having the brain of like an 11-year-old with all the knowledge you know now and just feeling it like slipping away because you're 11. I don't know, it was tripping me up, like the difference between an adult and a kid in this movie. When I first watched this movie, I was in 5th grade, and my 5th grade class put it on, and the technology wasn't working, and then we started worshiping a wombat, and we had a cult circle. Until it started working.
See, you were praying to the god of Jumanji.
And we were going, no, the wombat has a different worship, but we were going, all hail wombats, and then we were going, sacrifice, sacrifice. And we did that whenever the technology wouldn't work in 5th grade, because one day we had a PowerPoint where everyone did an animal, and one person in my class did wombats and had a little sound effects in the PowerPoint that was like, and then randomly in other people's PowerPoints that did not have the sound effect, just throughout their PowerPoints, you would hear, and it was really scary. So we were like, the wombat gods have taken over the technology in the classroom. And then whenever something wouldn't work and the movie wasn't working, we would just worship them and give them a sacrifice until they were pleased and made our technology work. And then we watched Jumanji.
That's
and then
amazing.
I tried Sour Patch Kid for the first time, because I had never had a Sour Patch Kid before. And I thought, I know the saying is first they're sour, then they're sweet, but just looking at it my whole life until I was 11, I just assumed the white flakes on the outside was sugar. It just looked like sugar. And then I put it in my mouth, and it was so sour. And it just looks like sugar on the outside and then a sour gummy, even though I know logically it's sour first and then it's sweet. So I was just really tripped up by it being sour and then a sweet gummy. And then I watched Jumanji, and I was like, wow, this is violent to watch in a classroom. And then I went home, and then I was a kid, and it just didn't think about it again.
Amazing. I have another question about the logistics of the game.
Okay.
How do the animals know where to spawn? Because I feel like it would be more practical for them to like come out of the little glass circle in the middle of the board. But they just spawn randomly in like this, like, is there like a radius or like a circumference of the game?
I bet there's a radius.
That
like the game has like a mile radius, and the animals spawn anywhere and then go towards the game, and then they just do whatever they want
like,
after that.
In the house. So
no,
the Stampede
didn't. Well, the Stampede didn't spawn in the house.
Yeah, it did.
No, it came like because they had to get a running start, so they ran through the house, but they didn't like. There's no way they could have started in the house because they had to like start running.
Well, they could have spawned in running.
I guess. I guess.
Like, does the game spawn the animals within the building?
I think so.
Also, why didn't they just go play the game somewhere else? Like, why did
I always wondered why they kept coming back to the house and, like, moving rooms. Like, bro, you should have just stayed outside, I felt like.
But, like, Robin's character had this one line that was like, I started the game here, I'm gonna finish the game here. And I think that's why they stayed in the house. But they could have literally just went across the street and they wouldn't have gone through, like, half of the stuff that they went through.
Bro, they're just really stupid.
Also, have you ever seen the movie Gremlins?
No, but I've heard you talk about it.
I love the movie Gremlins. When did I talk about it? There's a Gremlins movie reference in this movie because it came out like 10 years before
Clue
this.
Reference. There was like a bit where Robin Williams' character was like, "Yeah, this person in the library." With
yeah.
And I was like, he was from the 60s. When did Clue exist? And I looked it up, and Clue's from like the 1920s. And that was really trippy to me, because I love playing Clue.
The Gremlins reference in the movie is when the monkeys were in the kitchen, and that was they did the exact Gremlins kitchen scene in this movie. Like, the exact same thing. Just replace the monkeys with the Gremlins, and it's the exact same thing.
The kitchen scene with the monkeys actually reminded me of the live Cat in the Hat, with, like, the house getting destroyed.
You mean, like, the cooking show?
I don't know, but the live-action Cat in the Hat movie.
Yeah.
That's. I don't remember anything about the movie, but for some reason, the vibes were there when I saw the monkeys in the kitchen.
Do you think all in the timeline that Jumanji happened? Do you think all the effects of the animals went away after they got all sucked back up? Because the mosquitoes created a new disease that was just going around the city.
Yeah, that was so trippy to me.
And then
I really hope so. But if it wasn't a new timeline, like if everything was completely reset, then the disease never happened. But assuming the timeline continued, then yes, I like to believe the disease went away.
The girl, she was like poisoned, and she just died, I guess. Like, she had to die in that timeline. She got poisoned if it didn't get cured.
Fuck.
Also,
I forgot about that.
Why do they take so long to roll? Like, they could just all sit down, roll
and
continuously.
Just roll,
just
right?
Keep
That's
roll.
what you were saying.
You could finish the game in like 10 minutes, and like,
why do you keep running around? I get dangerous things are happening. You need to move out of the way, but just move out of the way and keep going. Like, why?
Like, they'll like the Stampede would come in. They would grab the game from the pelican or whatever, and then they would walk all the way back to the house before they would even try and roll again. And like, why don't you sit at the river, roll the rest of the time? You have an open space to run wherever you need.
You could see what's coming because you're outside and not in a room, just going based off of sounds. Just stay at the river. Just stay at the river and just roll the dice.
But they're like, no, we're gonna walk 5 miles all the way back to the destroyed house with a bunch of dangerous animals in it and a giant plant, and we're gonna sit here and roll for some reason.
I hate them.
I want to talk about the new movies. The new movies.
I haven't seen them since they came out, but yes,
I've seen
I will
the
participate.
first one, and I understand the concept of them. Like you have the outside perspective Jumanji, and then they want to do the inside perspective Jumanji of like what life is like inside Jumanji
when you get in. Yeah.
But
I like that they like didn't just repeat, because you know how a lot of sequels just kind of like repeat the same concept.
Yeah.
I like that they expanded on it instead of just repeating it. Kind of like the new Hunger Games movie. Like the prequel doesn't just repeat it; it expands on it.
Yeah. Like
that's what I like.
I like how they showed the other side that you didn't really get to see or get to like look into in the original movie. But I don't like that they made it a fucking video game. I hated it, and it was cringy. It's got that 2000s cringe. I hate it.
It was really, really, really cringy. But I understand why they made it a video game, because
I do too, but I hate it.
But I hate it. I hate it.
Also, my theory about the original movie is that if you get trapped inside Jumanji, I don't think it's structured like a game. I think it's just like you're in a jungle, you live here, and you have to survive.
Me too, man. You just have to figure out how to live in the jungle.
And do you think that the Jumanji jungle is like on Earth? I guess not. I guess it would be another universe inside of the game.
I think it's like if you took an Earth jungle and copied it and pasted it into another universe.
Yeah.
This is such a confusing concept.
Yeah. No, I get it. But like I don't like the new Jumanji movies because they're structured like a regular ass video game, and it's super like cheesy, and the NPCs are like a little bit too NPC, because the hunter in the original movie, he's conscious.
Like he was a guy.
He's a real dude.
He's a real person,
but in the new movies, they're like, I have 5 lines, and that's all I can say, and I will repeat those over and over again. And I'd rather them be real people.
What if, because the game adapted into a video game, the people inside became NPCs when they weren't NPCs before?
I don't like that.
Me neither. That's just my theory.
I just don't like it at all. I don't like it at all. Like, I hate it. I also don't like that they have, like, powers. Like, one of them can, like, fight really well. And the other one's, like, really smart or whatever and can, like, drive. I haven't watched these movies, actually. Really. I don't remember anything from them. But I know one of them can, like, fight really well and the other one can dance really well. And I just don't like that.
I don't remember the movies at all. I remember The Rock is in it, and I like The Rock. But that's about it.
I don't like The Rock anymore. I used to like The Rock. Then I found out he's kind of an asshole. But I love Jack Black.
Who was your favorite character?
My favorite character was the older woman. She was very mean.
I loved when the boy turned into a monkey. That was so gender.
I get that. So no, I totally get that.
And then Robin Williams is everything to me, specifically. The older woman I liked a lot. And I liked how the girl would just lie about everything. It was so weird. And I fucked with it. I liked all the characters.
I like the women. Both of them.
What do you have against the men?
They're men.
Damn.
Who was your favorite character? The men? The men? You like the men, I like the women?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. What would you rate it?
I'm gonna give it 4 stars.
4? Why 4?
It's good.
That's it?
I like it, but it's not like the best movie ever.
I would give it a 4.8 because
Damn.
they didn't conclude the aunt's story. and some of the logic is like dumb, but with that dumb logic, there wouldn't be a movie. So,
Like, this is a really good movie, and I like the scary shit they did in the movie, because some of the times you're just like, yeah, that's a lion puppet, and it's really silly.
oh yeah, that was you could definitely tell some of these were puppets. They're kind of cool actually, because you
They
never
were
really
cool
see that
puppets.
anymore.
4.1, upping my score.
Like the
4.1.
like the
I
poisonous
like practical
plant
effects.
puppet. That was pretty cool.
The plants were really cool.
Thanks guys for listening to this episode of Jumanji, episode 31. 31. We're
Oh
past
my
30
god,
episodes.
you must be
We're
so happy that we've passed 30.
We're finally. Yeah, it's a little secret. I accidentally have been calling the last 3 episodes episode 30, and while I'm editing them and while I'm texting Tyler. Because
Yeah,
I've
you're
just been
like, okay, episode 30 is gonna be up, and I'm like, hey dude, we're on episode 26.
I
What do you
was
mean
just
episode
so
30 's up?
excited to get to episode 30. Because 30 that's a lot of episodes. That's crazy. Just go like and subscribe to us. Go follow us on Twitter. Please, we need Twitter
We're
followers.
funny.
Unless you're under the age of like 14, then don't. You shouldn't have Twitter. Go watch our other videos. We have a FNAF video. Promote your video.
I forgot about it. I made a video where I play. I made a video where I play FNAF, except I don't know how to play FNAF, and then I learned how to play FNAF, but the audio is really bad on accident, but I think it would make some really nice, like, background noise if you just want to put it on and have FNAF
You should do that with all our
playthrough.
videos. Just put them on in the background.
If you just want, like, a FNAF game through just playing in the background, I say funny things, but you can't really hear them, and you're missing out.
You're just gonna blast it
my
and
fault.
listen to through the static.
It's horrible. You should go watch it. It's
Bye,
amazing.
guys.
It's great. It's FNAF. Bye.